I am Pops. Welcome. Saturday morning cartoons. Batman animated series is just brings joy to my heart and my soul. So good. The grandkids and I watched like 3 or 4 episodes together during their recent visit. It was so awesome. So here we are again. What is reality? A Riddler episode. One that I kind of remembered once I kind of got into it just a few minutes. Like, oh yeah, I remember this now. But I was really struck by the similarities to the Matrix. Like I'm like, there's a lot more Matrix in here than I remember. And I thought that was interesting. Our concepts and our thoughts on virtual reality and control and mind control um, have evolved so much now that AI is kind of actually manifested in our lives. But man, almost like it's just so far ahead of its time is sort of kind of a takeaway, if you will, of kind of where I'm at, by the way. So yeah, good episode and just so interesting. It starts off with just general digital warfare from the Riddler. Like he's attacking and attacking and ends up with like a giant puzzle box. So let's pull that up. Okay. Yep. Puzzle box. There you go. Came back up. So Batman What is Reality? And it's just the bank machines, Wall Street, stuff like that, all this stuff, digital stuff. It's like the Riddler's back. Okay. And then there's like the puzzle box. And of course, Robin is all about puzzles. Um, I will say I did always enjoy the fact that in the animated series universe, Robin really has kind of a different persona than he even has in the comics. So like he really is just this kind of fun-loving puzzle gaming kid, but not ever useless or uninteresting. Like he's a very interesting little sidekick. He's never, too nerdy or geeky. I just always like that. So anyway, there's this machine with like a virtual reality sort of machine, right? That and they kind of have the different clues. They're very juvenile clues. And then that kind of leads you to the archives where they're doing away with the Riddler's paper records and that kind of thing. Batman uh, is on the case, and during that time, Robin has accessed the programming and convinces Gordon to join. Right, and this is where the episode actually kind of begins, about the halfway part. So half the part is sort of a setup to get to this point. Again, all of it's beautifully done, very cinematic, typical of this show. I feel like I'm beating the drum of how great this show is, but it never ceases to deliver in detail, music, cinematic elements. All of it is there. So I really will say this. I enjoyed Gordon's almost like as the audience member or as a kid, oh my gosh, it feels so real. Like, look, I can touch this. Like I really did enjoy that, thinking to myself, man, that's like in the 90s, that this was really, really ahead of its time. Well, then Robin sort of like he leaves the room to go get some. They don't exactly know how to deal with it. And then Robin gets locked out of the room. He's suspicious. When he goes back in, he realizes, oh, it's all a trick. Meanwhile, Batman is on the case and realizes, oh, this was also a trick. A lure to get Batman away. There's just another clue. And just typical Riddler stuff, which I actually, to be honest, I'm always entertained and amused by. Alfred, of course, he always knows jokes. He always knows clues. And then they realize that Gordon is trapped in the virtual reality world. And the only way to save him is to go inside. So Gordon is actually on a machine that's going around like the famous astronaut centrifuge testing, their the gravity testing. And they come up with all these ideas to do this, do that. Nothing's going to work. You'll kill him. So I thought very much of like my Matrix of Morbius, like what happens in the virtual world affects the human world. If you die in here, you die on the outside. And they're like, what are you going to do when you come in here, Batman? You have any control? And it's like, well, you can do it. So now you're having to figure out clues in the Riddler's world. So not only is it just Riddler puzzles and things like that, it's also trying to survive in a world controlled by Riddler. So crazy intent is locomotive. And then, of course, the chess pieces takes you to the chess. They play chess and all that kind of stuff, which is fun. And of course, it is fun because they include things that, I mean, especially as the kid or as the normies, they wouldn't know he's called the Dark Knight. That's more like a comic book nerdy thing. The movie didn't come along until 2008. So you're talking about long before that movie. So obviously, because of the Dark Knight references, he can move like a knight on the chessboard. That leads to him winning there, and that culminates with him actually becoming more like a knight on the horse, which is fantastically cool, by the way. Then he ends up with the puzzle thing, and then you get into like a whole hardcore Matrix thing where it's like, yes, you're right, Riddler, you control this universe, but you can't control me. And he duplicates himself and duplicates himself. So the Riddler panics, he duplicates himself. So this literally becomes a Smith versus Neo type situation. And I was like, man, I forgot this element of the show. Like, I know the Matrix is dogged on like copying stuff, ripping things off. Um, so I'm not trying to say that. I'm just trying to say that our framework and our understanding and our thoughts of virtual reality and simulations and artificial, all of this was very streamlined with a certain type of perspective that everyone kind of had a very similar vision and thought. Grant Morrison had the invisible, so that was part of it. All was very similar stuff. And this show really hammers it home. And I will say too, I mean, look at the way they handle the Riddler's universe with the colors. There's very, very much just, white, reds, and blacks. All right. So, he has I mean, obviously he has flesh tone for his mask, but not a lot of color. It just culminates with Batman coming up with a solution to get to the victory to save Gordon. Of course, uh, Nigma doesn't really think he's escaping in time or whatever. The machine kind of goes up in flames, and then they realize he didn't actually make it out in time. He's trapped, so his brain is on. In theory, his brain is fried. So yeah, um, truly, truly a great episode. I I say it every week. I don't know what to say. Even even if I did like the worst episodes of the series at this point, right? I would say, yeah, let's say I did like the 5 worst episodes. Those 5 episodes would be um better than most other shows. That's how good this show is. It is so superior week after week, show after show, episode after episode. If you can remember, this show was airing like every single day. Can you imagine how great it would have been? And some of you that was true. Coming home, watching this show every single day. Oh, Batman love. Oh, so good. So good. I was so happy when this first came out on DVD and stuff, and I could get them and just pound them out, pound them out. Before that, you had to try to record them on your VCR. So you had a tape. You know what I mean? You had to find a way to get them all. And even then, you couldn't get them all because they'd be out of order again, or you'd miss one. And oh, it's so good. We're so lucky now. We have all of this stuff and access to it so easily. So anyway, that's my take on it. Thank you guys for watching and hanging out. I actually love doing Saturday morning cartoon stuff. I wish I could do more. Um, yeah, but thanks, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, everybody. I'm Pops.